Hey guys. Hey Sedan. Hey Thrundix. Sorry I'm late, guys. Bit of a technical issue. Just getting started. But yeah, managed to get on eventually. Trying to figure out how to fix something with the streaming tools, but it didn't really work. But we're here now. So how are you guys doing? Appreciate you being here. We've got a few pictures I want to get done today because I would like to get the WyrdFolk video edited this week. But that depends if I can get enough art done for it. So far we've managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures, plus a couple of other ones I want to use, but I want to do about 8 pictures in total, so we've still got quite a few to do. But how are you guys doing? It's fine. Throndix is good. Lazy Crow, hello Badger friend, how's it going, mate? Very good. Sidan, I can hear when about to get a message already. Maybe it's popping up on my computer or something, I'm not sure. I'll log out of my Discord just so it's not making a lot of noise. There we go. Entertained, good to hear. Yeah, I said in the Discord, I know you saw it, Sidan, a couple of others saw it as well, but managed to go to Warhammer World this weekend. So that was a first for me. Been a big Warhammer fan since I was about 9 or 10 years old. So it was good to finally get there and actually see what it was like and get a bunch of souvenirs and things like that. So that was pretty cool. Right, let's jump into... We might start with the wolf picture. So I've just seen that now, actually. And wolves are cool to show. Mike's a bit quiet. Oh, hey, Monster Gun. How's it going, man? Thanks for jumping into the stream. Appreciate it. Maybe my mic's a bit far away from my mouth there. Appreciate you dropping in, mate. Good to have you here. Side down. The consumer must always be entertained. True. Sorry, I started the stream a little bit later than usual, so sorry if I'm a bit frazzled. Streamer problems as usual. Yeah, everyone's shell shocked now that you've dropped in, Monster Garden. Thanks for being here, mate. Really appreciate it. Maybe you can give us some tips on drawing for today. Throndix doing quite fine. I just forgot to take my allergy meds, so now I can't breathe. My nose, it's a headache. Oh, sorry. God, that sounds awful. Sorry to hear that. It's been raining a lot here, so it's not too bad. We normally get lots of allergy problems around the British countryside, but it's not too bad. What are we doing today? So today we're going to be working on some WyrdFolk pictures. Last stream we managed to get a couple done. I'll just post them up here. So this is one of the ones we got done in the last stream. This was the little thrasher shark housemaid working in the kitchens. We did that in the last stream. We also got this little guy, a weevil, riding his little slug friend into market. Whilst I was away at the weekend, I managed to work on this one a little bit more. So a big titan, war titan, with a WyrdFolk ranger living on his head and kind of sapping his power. Some people going to visit him. I haven't quite finished this one, but it's kind of on its way. And this is one we were working on before. I had to edit this one as quite a few people had said to me that the guy looked like he was doing horrible things to the crab other than just picking him up. So yeah, we might finish this one today as well, but I think we will get the ant pictures done, hopefully. I also worked on this one a little bit, which is supposed to be a drone, which is like a statue guy who kind of works as a ranger in the woods, but I'm not super happy with it at the moment, so we might do a few more different things with that one. Sidan, aquatic fae can breathe air. Yeah, so it's a bit of a suspension of disbelief, but there's some like fae, for example. Let's go back to some of the older pictures. Some fae, like the fish fae, who are also weird folk, but they can breathe air, essentially. It's one of the aspects of weird folk, is they're able to live amongst humans and communicate and to work, but they can do kind of normal human things, even if they look a bit weird. It's my favorite guy just here, just chilling. And we've also got a few other ones that I want to include. But yeah, like I said, we're going to mostly work on the ant pictures that we had going today, which are going to be these ones, these little ant farmers who are farming aphids. Oh, we've got lots of people in now. Felix, hi. Oh gosh, wow. Lots of people joining, 20 people. Oh wow, this is the most I think we've had in so far. Felix, hi. How's it going? Hasbjorn, hello, hello. What a cool fish. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, we just these are some of the older sketches, but this is one we're working on today. Laser Crow, how long does the transformation process take from a regular animal into a fae? It's something I haven't really worked on, if I'm honest, in the stream. Or in any of the videos. I'm hoping to work on it a bit more, in like the idea behind it. But I'm thinking maybe it'll be a bit of a long process, because it's like the animals have a normal like length of life, I guess, like lifespan, but for when they turn into a fae, they generally have the same lifespan as humans, so maybe quite a long time. Coffee Pixel, fish. Yeah, we're gonna have some ants in here too, some little ant farmers. We'll start working on it whilst I'm reading through this. Wow, a lot of people, 20. Yeah, I'm a bit shell-shocked, to be honest. I didn't expect so many people to jump in. Thanks everyone for being here. The huge bloated eyes are amazing. Thank you. Yeah. I think I wanted to go a bit weird with the fish fae, so I thought that'd make them look a bit silly, because they're supposed to just work on the docks and kind of evolving. They're kind of just living their life, trying to avoid working alongside too many people, because they freak people out. Oh gosh, so many comments. I've never had this. Lots of people commenting like this, so trying to catch up. Hello, Sikiku. Felix, I never heard of this channel before. This is also cool. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Having so many people surprise me as videos have not been overperforming. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there's only like a few of us in the stream every week. We stream every Wednesday at this time. Got all the regulars in, but yeah, lots of people in. Appreciate you all being here. Coffee Pixel, how's it going? Really good, thanks. Yeah, I was just telling the guys in the stream that just been to Warhammer World in the UK over the weekend. So my first pilgrimage to the Holy Land of Warhammer World in Nottingham. So very good holiday. I'm going to be making just a few scribbles to get an idea of what I want here. Essentially, this picture is going to be an ant farmer and his aphid cow and his little ant dog. We'll see how this picture turns out. But yeah. Frederick Napier, Le Bug. Thanks for right. Yes. want these guys to be like kind of peaceful farmer dudes, but they have big ants, like guard ants, like how you have like worker ants and then the guard ants, and the guards are protecting the aphids and the farmers as they kind of do their thing. Very folklore, fairy tale-esque, yeah. Yeah, a lot of it's based, a lot of the kind of, the visual style I want to go for is based on like 17th century or England. So a lot of these English Civil War. So, you know, I'll go through some of the pictures since we've got a lot of people here. A lot of it's like, a lot of the costumes and stuff, have that kind of like vibe where you've got, you know, the big frilly necks, a little bit of armor, but mostly because there's like muskets and stuff, there's not much armor. But of course, all with these like different animals that exist as essentially like human types. So you have like, you can see in the reference sheet, this is kind of very European, so it's a lot of these like Dutch outfits or from around the continent, which I'm using for inspiration. But like a puffin fey ranger here and a little rabbit ranger. So these kind of like anthropomorphic animals, which have, you know, lots of guns, lots of weapons, standard kind of thing. Yeah. Alba, how's it going? Thanks for dropping in. Hello, folks. Appreciate you being here. Saidan, I've just finished writing one page describing meatloaf. That's good. Even though I've never had meatloaf in my life. I think I've always considered it to look very, very delicious, despite never having it either. A lot of these like American dishes, which I see online, which look absolutely amazing, I've never had myself. So yeah, a lot of the lore is based in the Albion Isles, which is supposed to be Britain, and it's after a big apocalypse. So you have a lot of these guys with costumes. I apologize to the regulars, just because there's lots of people in here. I thought I would just explain a little bit. So you got a lot of these kilts and these like Scottish, you know, Highlands and things like that. Hopefully in the pictures, a lot of, you know, pagan kind of rituals and ginger people with curly hair and British animals about the place. But yeah, I'm very much trying to set a bit of an Anglo vibe with all of this. Whilst also adding a bit of like sci-fi elements. But anyway, I'll stop rabbling and jump back into illustrating a little bit. A consistent stream schedule as well. I could never. To be honest, I've stuck to it quite well. I've managed to do every Wednesday, I think for the last 8 weeks. 8:30 to 10:30. So I'm not sure. I'm going to do a bit of a vague aphid here before I look up a few references. Not very professional. Not preparing my references beforehand, but hey ho. But yeah, I've managed to stick to it quite well. I think the best thing about it is just, you know, managing to get a lot of drawing done every week for at least 2 hours. I managed to draw quite a lot during the week, but this has kind of helped me to stay consistent and get stuff done for my videos. So it's been nice being able to work on it so much. I never had it either, as I said earlier. There was a conversation about trade deal over dinner. Yeah, definitely. Have to try it. I think it looks good. Alba, love a good refresher of your lore anytime. Thanks. Yeah. It's one thing I don't know if I should start doing. I see a lot of other world builders, they will like kind of reference their world building project at the start. Like Numberek, I think his name is. Let me double check. He always like references his project at the start, and he kind of talks about it in world. Underscore nubmark. His stuff is amazing. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably follow him already, but I'll share his link here. But he always references a lot of his he references his project right at the start of every video. So I don't know if I should do that a bit more often. I'm still kind of learning how things work, but guys like Monster Garden and Alba, Francesca Art, and who else do I follow? A lot of other people. Tales from Elsewhere. You know, all of these guys. I think they have these Eternal Ruins. That's another good one. A lot of them will either reference their projects at the start, or they do. They kind of do it at the end of the video. So I'm still trying to get the hang of how everybody else does things and seeing what works. But I want this ant dog to look a little bit cute. But I don't know how you make an ant look cute, to be honest. So we'll have to see how that goes. But not bad. I want the big aphid cow to look quite cute as well. Maybe those gangly legs are not going to work. Aphid farming ants. I'll have a look in the in Google. Get some answers. The influence for this was I had a bunch of broad beans in my garden last year, and they got black fly, which is like a type of aphid, and they were protected by giant black ants, and the ladybirds couldn't get anywhere near them. So I thought that was very cool. So I let them just kind of eat the broad beans because I thought it was a cool idea. And I didn't really like broad beans after about a month. So now they're going to be living eternally in my world building project. So they kind of have a bit of a longer face, it looks, and a smaller eye. So if we kind of shrink that down a little bit. With a lot of these drawings, I try to just work as I boogie along, and then it kind of comes to me. I do like a preliminary sketch, and then afterwards it kind of comes together. Generally, I have given up on a few images in the past that we've tried to work on during stream, and I couldn't get them to work. But we'll see how this one goes. I don't really like its legs though. Do you know what might be a good reference is the animated movie Ants. Oh god, they actually. I'm going to use some of the characters from Ants to try and help me draw these a bit better. We'll see. Ooh, lost my stream there. Coffee Pixel, just how small are Antfae? So, just if I do a quick little sketch, a normal human is about the same size. A lot of the Fae are about the same size as humans, if not a tiny bit shorter. You have some animals which are a little bit bigger, so like a badger Fae or wolf Fae or other ones like that. But the majority of them are about the same size as humans. So if this is a good reference point, this is a human next to an Antfae. This big aphid cow. So about the same height, really. And I want to do it so they kind of live in society and they kind of blend in with everybody. I did an image ages ago, which was one of the really preliminary concept sketches that I had, and I think it kind of describes it very well if I can find it. Let me see. I've done a lot of. They're not very organized, but I've managed to do a lot of these folders. So this is one of the preliminary sketches I did back in the day when I first started the project. And as you can see, there's like a couple of hare Fae in amongst the crowd. So they pretty much the same size. This is just a normal dog, not a dog Fae, so he's kind of down there. But you get a lot of these like bigger animals as well, like this big fish. A big aspect of the project is giants, Fae, dragons, as well as normal humans. And a big aspect of it as well is trolls, but we're not going to be looking too much into trolls today. Just these weird folks. Sorry, I'm getting distracted a lot. What if the... Oh, Yeah, perfect consistency from the Bard. Yeah, thanks, Frondix. Yeah, I managed to keep up with it. I'm really hoping I'll be able to stick to it for as long as possible. But we'll see. I do need a reference here to help me with this outfit. I'm gonna do a farmer outfit, so I might go back to that reference I had before with all the dudes. I want to do them as kind of farmers. Maybe a bit like this. A bit Scandinavian, but they look quite cool. Maybe a little hood. A hood would look cooler actually on an ant, I think. What if the Fey fish spoke in a really thick accent, like really old fishermen, but also like they're speaking underwater? We were having a conversation about this last week about like how super geeky world building stuff. This is the kind of fun stuff that I like, where it's if you have a crab Fey, they won't have any lips and they won't have a tongue, which means they wouldn't be able to pronounce the letters like the P sound, like P for Peter, or B sound, like B for better, or they wouldn't be able to pronounce a L, like L for lollipop, because they don't have any of those parts of the body. So I think something like a fish or a crab or some other animals like that would have like a particular accent that would be quite consistent, just because they wouldn't be able to pronounce certain, particular sounds. So yeah, you're pretty much on the spot. It's like it's definitely an accent that's going to be quite apparent with all of these particular Fae. The thing with the WyrdFolk, which is this video we're working on at the moment, is these are the kind of Fae that are not super consistent throughout the Albion Isles. So you have Fae like rabbits and hares and lots of bird Fae, which are super common, but things like insects and fish are not so common. Essentially, with the evolution of these animals into Fae, most of them are like intelligent animals. So they insects, I guess, are quite intelligent, but are not. They didn't evolve as much as, let's say, like hares or cats, for example, which evolved a lot. So they're not going to be a lot of fish Fae, but the ones that do exist will have like a really thick accent, I guess. So I'm supposed to be a good cook. The problem is I'm not sure. I'm not so. I don't know what a 5-star meal looks like. Also, I don't really know where to put all my short story and ideas. Well, Sidon, one of the guys in the chat, is writing a book in our Discord, and I've got a lot of guys have got kind of projects there. I was a bit inspired actually by Monster Garden's Discord with the kind of projects. So a lot of the guys have got their stuff in there. Honestly, mate, I think that's the best place to put it. I was hoping I'd have more time to read through everything this weekend, but I've kind of failed in that as well. Can make them out of leaves or something. Well, the thing with the ants is they're pretty big, so they would probably just use like normal materials. I mean, it's something I need to think about, because I guess if they're not harvesting from like normal animals, they would. Well, I guess they might have access to like wool or leather with trading with human settlements, and they could perhaps trade like honeydew that they farm from the aphids, which could be like a really carb heavy thing that people would like for the winters, or like a good nutritious like liquid that perhaps lasts longer than milk because it's like so sugary, a bit like jam or like a preserved thing. So I guess they would have a lot of like trading power with the human settlements. So I might do this arm on his little ant dog. But yeah, in terms of their clothes, I guess they would just use normal clothes, because I suppose the cold would affect them if they were a bit bigger, I guess. I'm not really sure how thermodynamics works with thermodynamics. Maybe this is the right word, with giant ants, I guess. So cool. Love the perspective. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I think I'm trying to be quite consistent with the the kind of style I'm going for. But you know, sometimes you get like a really cool idea and it doesn't really fit in the scope. But I'm trying to stick with it as best as I can. I want things to look relatively samey, I guess. I don't know if that's a word, but just so you know, the project is kind of recognizable in and of itself. Oh god, that just looks like a weird ant kind of kneeling down. To make him look more dog-like. He could be a little bee or something, or a fly. Can anyone give me maybe an idea of what what an ant would have as a dog? If anyone in the chat wants to make some suggestions. Again, the insects are staying kind of British Isles relative, so like no praying mantises, but it could be like a fly or like a hoverfly or something, I guess. This outfit's looking cooler than the kind of peasant farmer one I had planned. He's got this like little Bo Peep crook. That's so interesting because I work with speech-related things, so maybe I'm biased. Yeah, well, I'm a language teacher, so I'm the same. It's one thing I wanted to do right at the start of this project is do things related to expressions and phrases that come from, you know, living amongst animals. Like in my last giant video, or at the end, I think I said the phrase "to look up to someone" is related to giants because they everybody loves giants, and so people respect and admire them, and so this phrase was developed from people who lived amongst giants, essentially. So language is definitely going to be an aspect that I want to develop a bit more. But I just love drawing, so I'm going to stick to that for now. This is his big honeydew sack. I hope he's going to stick there. Does lifestyle of wild animals affect phase social behavior anyhow? Great question. Yeah, so it's, I would say, yeah, the wild animals still live as they would do, you know, back in the day in the UK. So you have things like wolves and boar and hares and rabbits, which are just normal. They generally grow faster, and they have a chance of evolving into Fae, but they just live their normal lives. So in the world, there's also things called giants, like this aphid. I'll see if I can find a better picture. And giants are like normal animals, but very big. So you have giant humans, but you also have giant... oh, wrong picture. You also have giant things like a giant spider, for example, like this one here, who's in the Great Forest. And so that presents obviously like a bigger danger, because a giant crow or a giant spider or a giant, you know, fish would obviously be much more dangerous than just its normal counterpart. So yeah, you're exactly right. It does kind of affect everybody's life, as well as you know, Fae and humans, because it affects trade routes, and it means that little packs of birds, which wouldn't be a problem, which are now the size of wolves, are much more dangerous in that fact, for sure. Great question. Ooh, lots of questions to catch up with. Man, it's already in the Discord. I don't know where to put it if it is sold. Honestly, mate, I would say if you, yeah, with that, I feel like a few of the guys have been reading through the projects in the Discord, so it's a good place to keep it like quite consistent. Monster Garden, would bug leather be a thing? And how big are they? Are they big flying insects as well? Maybe you can make insect wings into usable materials. I haven't really thought about that. That's a great idea. Bug leather as well. Do you know that's a really cool question, because that's like, that opens up an avenue for things like giant animal bones, giant animal like teeth. But yeah, giant like bug leather, like the kind of, is it chitin? Could be a bit like hard, like crab shells, or like mollusk shells type thing. You know, giant snail shells as well would probably be quite like a premium material, because you'd have, oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, bug leather I think would be a cool idea. Maybe this guy could have some bug leather on him. I'm going to add that in. So maybe he could have Actually, no. What I'll do is I'm going to add it to the bug warrior, the ant warrior, because I'll do my sketch that I was drawing before. I've got this giant ant warrior who's going to be much bigger than the farmer ant. So maybe I'll give him like a layer of armor, which is like bug leather. And of course a little hat. I've been giving everything little hats for the time being. Just because it's fun. But yeah. Oh, do you know, the dog could have it. Maybe like a mountain dog when they have like the spiked collars, so they don't get their necks bitten by animals in the forest when they're guarding them. For those who were there in the last week, I posted the sketch to my YouTube banner in the Discord if you want. Yeah, I saw that. I saw you. You're still working on your. A couple of the guys have been posting all of their art and stuff in the Discord. There's some really good stuff in there actually at the moment. I think have you been working on it anymore, Thrundix? Have you managed to get more of your banner done? Would bugs be more like humble folk while mammals are more educated? Great question. Yeah, so a big aspect of their kind of personalities, I think I'm going to base a lot on kind of stereotypes for those animals. Or I guess natural traits. So like a hare would be more skittish and more, less likely to go on expeditions and to join adventuring parties and things like that. Whereas a badger might be more likely to join, and obviously they're bigger and stronger and a bit, and boars as well would be very stubborn, and cats would be really intelligent but kind of conniving, so they'd be like likely politicians, would be a lot of like cat fae. So yeah, I think a lot of their personality is going to be based off of the stereotype for that particular animal. So yeah, definitely. I think I will be doing once I do a few more short stories. I did a short story recently about an albino fae, just as one of my shorts. We worked on that a little bit a couple of weeks ago. And that one kind of talks about a rabbit fae who gets too greedy and essentially turns into a troll, which is another part of this project, which are just essentially big monsters that have over-mutated and become scary beasts. But yeah, so I'm going to do some more short stories, hopefully, about these creatures and their personalities and things like that. He's looking a bit cute, this little dog dude. Quite happy with that. Give this ant some fingers, so he's petting his head. And then make his arm a bit straighter, like that. Bug chitin armor, if there's massive bugs. Yeah, so there are massive bugs, like giant spiders and things like that. Giant animals are quite consistent on the island. So you'd have loads of different kind of types of animal armor, I guess, and different leathers, like you guys were saying. So I think it's definitely something I need to consider more. One of the videos I want to do after the WyrdFolk one is food. So obviously a big part of the food would just be eating meat from a giant pig, or maybe people eating insects like these aphids, farming their honeydew would be a big part of their economy and their kind of food source for their hive. So definitely something I want to consider a bit more, how to adapt to the world, I guess. Loads of good ideas. Keep shooting in ideas if anyone has any, because I think it really helps me to kind of progress a bit more with it. Termites, so those live in Britain. They would make an interesting dog. We don't have termites. We've got lots of different species of ant. Do we have termites? Maybe we do, actually. We might have like wood termites. UK termites. We've got things like woodworm. No, I was wondering, termite infestation. Okay, no, we don't have termites. There was apparently an infestation a while ago, but it's just not something we have. So maybe a different kind of beetle or something. What about nits or weebugs? Do you know, I was thinking about doing parasitic animals as well, because you'd have something like a giant wolf or a giant fox. There'd probably be giant parasites, and a big horrible one would be like ticks or giant lice or things like that. That perhaps would be more, you know, like ambush predators as opposed to like parasites, because of the circumstances. But yeah, I really hate those kind of animals. So I don't know how cute they would look as a little ant dude. So maybe not one of those. Are the dedicated giant hunters? So there's a video about so like Saidan said, there's a video about troll hunters, and they go after trolls. I'll just show a quick video of one of those, a quick picture of one of them. So trolls, like I said, are like over mutated animals that have kind of gone too far and become like kind of monsters. So you have these guys called troll hunters, whose whole job is to go out and kill these big monsters and to hunt some giant animals which are problematic. So like you said, if there's like a pack of giant birds which are harassing caravans, these guys are sent out to deal with them. And these guys have a lot of special privileges, and they're kind of expected to deal with these things, which are called trolls. So this is a troll red squirrel. And trolls are essentially like mindless animals which go out and just attack anything they see. They generally don't last very long on the land, because they always run into something bigger, or into a city, or into troll hunters, and they get killed off. But in the sea, there's supposed to be loads of them, loads of these giant trolls. But yeah, so you have giant animals like giant eagles, or birds of prey, which would obviously be very problematic for farmers, like livestock farmers, but also people just in general, because you have to contend with these massive animals. But a lot of these trolls are just, like I said, any animal can become them, and they end up with bones kind of jutting out of their skin and eyes in the wrong places. But the only like really consistent thing that they have is these really black dilated pupils, which is like a sign that someone's turning into a troll. So like I said, in the short I did recently about this guy, he's called Douglas the Thespian, Douglas the Fae, who was like a comedian who travelled around the Albion Isles. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. He becomes a troll, and so Fae, humans, giants can all become trolls, and troll hunters are kind of sent out after them to deal with them, and to either chase them off or get rid of them, essentially. I'm thinking, like, if caterpillars are large enough, their skin could probably be turned into leather. If that was the case, wings and leather from bugs would add very interesting patterns. That's a really cool idea. Yeah, so you could have like kind of the texture or the patterns on. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. I'm liking that. So what we'll do is we'll do this kind of this honeydew sac as like as leather from insects, but like Monster Garden said, what I'll do is I'll get some like a dragonfly skin UK, and I'll do the pattern from that, because like the wing pattern from that. So it's transparent on a normal dragonfly, but I think it could look quite cool on the sack. So it's kind of like cells, that kind of mishmash amongst the bag. So then you have these kind of units. That's a great idea, yeah. So then you can have like the ants are farming maybe more than the aphids, and they have like but for like different, like producing different things. So the aphids are perhaps the food source, and then you could have like perhaps ladybirds could be for the chitinous shells, or even like transportation or something. Oh man, that's a cool idea. So you have these whole farms of like giant animals. It kind of adds like a whole another dimension in terms of like trade and accessibility to like resources, I guess. If yeah. Great ideas. Keep these ideas coming, because I think they're definitely a good way to help me progress with the development of the story for sure. I don't know about giant hunters, but you talked about troll hunters, which are a bigger problem than giants. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are right. It's like, you know, I would say the big difference is trolls are kind of mindless, whereas giants could be more calculated because they kind of have the intelligence of like a normal animal. So like a giant eagle would be very smart, whereas a troll eagle would just be, you know, throwing itself at different things. That immediately looks better. I could do a little bit of like sap, perhaps, like pouring out of the top of the sack to kind of show what's coming out. Because I guess it wouldn't be totally like if I do like a little bit of, oh god, it looks a bit suspect. Okay, that looks a bit weird. We'll come back to that. Maybe if I color it, we'll deal with that. Frederick, I was speaking more about that, like ants live in colonies, yeah, but does ant folks are more prone to live in close big commune because of echo or the behavior of their wild ancestors? Also, sorry for my bad English. It's not my language. No, man, your English is perfect. I wouldn't have guessed it wasn't your first language. Great question. Yeah, so you're right. These ants live in big colonies, and whereas the other Fae are more likely to live with amongst humans or amongst, you know, mammals or birds, kind of live together, the ants just live as ants essentially. So they aren't, you know. Oh, I've been doing aphids wrong. I've just seen a picture of their face. They look a little bit like grasshoppers. So ants would just live amongst ants, essentially. So they would, you would have these big colonies that would perhaps live underground, but they also have farms on the land, and they live separately to humans, perhaps kind of tolerate the other human communities in the area. Oh, aphid's quite cute. I made this guy's head a bit bigger. He looks a bit creepy. A bit smaller, sorry. He's got a big fat face. And perhaps he's like munching some. What do aphids like to eat? They eat flowers, right? There you go. So yeah, so they do live in colonies with just their ant hive, and a big aspect of it that I wanted to deal with was dragons, and so there's a queen ant who is a dragon, and she this is not a completed image. I'm not really happy with this one, but she essentially is super intelligent, and she kind of controls the hive. So dragons are exactly that. They're bigger, more intelligent animals that are less common than some of the other ones, but they live amongst, they kind of live by themselves, or they live in some colonies and things like that. So the ruler of the ants would be a dragon, essentially. So let me just move this head a bit closer. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with all the comments. They're coming so fast. I'm not used to answering so many questions, but once I get into a bit of a mojo, I kind of forget to answer questions. I might make him a bit lumpier, just so he's a bit cuter. Oh gosh, lots of questions to catch up. So Trondix, I don't spend that much time on it. I'm frustratingly slow, not much progress. So yeah, for your banner, yeah, I would say, I know it's especially for like traditional art. I think it can be quite frustrating to try to get stuff finished. I was doing a bit of like charcoal stuff today, or like pastel stuff, and it just makes me appreciate how much how difficult traditional art is. I think it seems like such a challenge. So I think, yeah, there's no rush anyway. I think just sticking to it and getting something like really consistent done. Oh god, this thing's horrible. This is like the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. Chris, would ants with gigantism hang out with normal ants? Like maybe it's a giant mobile queen ant with her colony living on her back. Great question. Yeah, we've talked about that a bit with like whales, like a colony of whale, like a whale dragon, and her like worshippers live on her back, and she kind of travels around the world. So she has all these people from like different countries who live on her back. But with the ants, they would live in like an underground hive. This is the plan at the moment. I can make this guy's head a bit bigger because it kind of looks like just a dude who's really fat. It's a bit bigger. Maybe if I make his face a bit fatter, maybe a bit cuter. It's not working really. Yeah, the ants have giant ants who live with them, exactly like you said. So it's not just fae, and it's not just warrior and worker ants. It's also giant ants, which they use maybe as like guard dogs. So like this guy here, this is a giant ant. Whereas this is an ant fae, and then we got the aphid. So yeah, you do have this kind of like group of different ants that live together, but all of the same species and all of the same hive. So they still exist. And, I guess they would be at different sizes. The fae would be different sizes, and just because there's so many of them. But they all come from perhaps the same queen. Great question so far. Why badger? I'm not hating. I'm just curious. I like badgers. I know badgers kind of exist around the world, but I've always seen badgers as a very like Anglo-Isle thing, or like I guess Northern Hemisphere, because you get them in Canada as well. But yeah, whenever I think of like old British stories, I think of badgers and hares and foxes, and rabbits and things like that. A lot of like Peter Rabbit and Toad of Toad Hall, toads as well. A lot of my stories contain toads and frogs. In the Discord, it's a big fan favorite, I would say. But I just love them. I just think they're cool animals, and just I think they're very like iconic looking as well. It's like very easy to see like the silhouette of a badger and be like, oh yeah, that's a badger. Pretty cool. English is quite good. Yeah, I agree. Imagine a giant tapeworm. Oh, that'd be horrible. Giant ticks. Oh, cursed. Yeah, I think a lot of giant parasites in general would just be horrible. Yeah, really horrible. Just played Helldivers 2 yesterday for the first time. A member of the Xbox reinforcements. Yes, yeah, we do need more reinforcements. I've been playing. I think I got Helldivers when it came out on Steam. My friends and I have been playing it a lot. So we are always ready to support Super Earth for sure. Frederick's spider silk, and also I don't know, maybe a shepherd spider dog, like it's herding insects that are grown by the ant folk. I think like a multi-species. I don't know. One thing I wanted for the ants was for them. I was asking for suggestions earlier, and I am going to do more stuff with spiders. One thing I wanted with the ants is for them to be quite. I'd forgotten about this before I'd asked for suggestions. I wanted them to be quite isolated, so they deal with other people, like humans and fae, and they trade perhaps. But I wanted them to not be too connected to other groups. So they kind of they're their own separate town. So you have kind of an ant city. But one of the big aspects of this project is I wanted to do a TTRPG eventually, and with the standard creative's procrastination brain, I was thinking about the modules I would have for the project before I'd even gotten halfway through the project. So one of the modules I was thinking is an adventure where your party has to go through the ant colony to deal with a blight. We were talking about this in a previous stream, but it could be because of the increase in the temperature in the Albion Isles. It's to do with cordyceps or fungi that are infecting the ant colony. It's something I think I will consider in the future, just how the ant colony would run. But I think all of these suggestions have been awesome. Like perhaps them trading in different animal products could be like a really cool aspect of the project. Frog soldiers are cool. Acceleration Discord. It's like a standard quote in the Discord. It's just the frog army grows, the frog army intensifies. Now, for those who haven't seen the frogs, like I said, they're a fan favorite for good reason. This was a early adaptation of the frogs. That's not a real one. The frogs are these guys. Very fancy boys. They have their own stretch of lands called the Swamps of Icenia, which is real-world Norfolk, the east coast of the UK, and they have their own kind of society where they kind of live in the swamp, and they have their breeding pools in there. But a big aspect of their kind of world is they have a very martial law. So not martial, yeah, I guess martial society is probably a better way to say it. So they're all in their English Civil War costumes. I like this guy. There's a little dude at the back. So they're all very fancy folk. They're all very strange. They're a little bit insane, and they think that's a product of accelerating too fast. But they love fancy hats, and they love humans because they love all the humans' clothes. So they try to emulate them as much as possible. So yeah. They also are at odds with fisher cults. So these kingfishers and heron that live in the swamps with them and hunt them down in like guerrilla warfare style. And because the frogs killed their liege, which was a giant dragon heron called the Great Tyrant. This is all in like the videos, so I'm rambling. I'm saying very quickly here. The videos are a little bit longer than this, so they explain it a little bit better. If you want to check them out in the YouTube. But yeah, there's all the lore about these guys in there. I do plan to do a lot more frog pictures in the future because I know they're a favorite. But yeah, I think that's definitely going to come with the food video. I can't remember if it was last stream or one of the previous ones, but we were talking a bit about food, and I think the reason why was because of we were chatting about what the frogs would eat. I guess like not just insects, but if you had like a fully grown 4-foot frog, they'd probably has opposable thumbs and can catch food. They'd probably eat fish and small mice and birds, so they'd have a much more varied diet, I guess. So lots of stuff here. Kickstarter when? that was the plan, to be honest. It's like a very standard thing. It's like I'm gonna write a book and make a Kickstarter, but yeah, it's kind of a long way off now. I'm really focusing on the art and trying to get as much drawing done as possible before I try to do anything with like game design. I've never designed a game before other than kind of freestyling with D&D. So yeah, the RPG is very much a pipe dream, I think, but maybe one day. I think it'd be a cool project to work on for sure. Frog. Are there any bee folk? A lot of people have been asking about bees. I've spoken to a few people, and I saw it in a few of the comments in like some of my older videos. People were asking about bees, and especially because they're intelligent, they would make for good fae. In fact, one of the original ideas for the ant hive was a beehive, but I'd seen it in a few other things, and I thought, ants are cool, and also because I saw the ants in my garden, which kind of inspired me. There will be some bee folk in the future, just because I love bees. So we'll definitely get to that eventually. But yeah, it will be eventually, I think, more than sooner. Triple Stav, thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, I remember you saying the stream time isn't super convenient for you. I appreciate you stopping in. I think it's difficult, with all the different, like trying to catch everyone's streams. It's tricky to be able to drop in and see everybody's stuff. Skyrim Pew. Yeah, Triple Stab's in the Discord as well. Alba, I discovered your channel thanks to the frogs. Yeah. Maybe I need to do more frog videos. They seem to be quite popular. And they always get a lot of comments of people writing about frogs. So maybe frogs are a way forward. I found frogs and dragons, I think, seem to be like the popular videos. And so that's... maybe I need to be doing more of those in the near future. But the frogs are just fun to draw as well, because the whole idea behind them is to have fancy hats and fancy clothes. So it's like a nice thing to draw from time to time. I'm not liking this dog. He's kind of creeping me out. He just looks like a dude in a dog outfit. I'm gonna look up a picture of a dog. We'll use that. Dog sitting. And then maybe it'll make him a bit cuter. We'll use that picture. With the down legs. And then the sitting paws. There you go. References always save the day. We'll work on that a little bit more. Marsh Outlaw. Damn, they're legendary. Not the bees. I think, speaking of, I can't remember what it's called, was it The Wicker Man, isn't it? I want to do some more like culty, creepy vibes for some future videos. I think bees would be a good one, like a bee cult, and it's very like midsummer, and they all have their like little white bee outfits and things like that. So maybe that would be a good one to do it on as like a short story, a little creepy beehive that worships their queen bee, or worships their honey or something. We'll come back to that dog because he kind of creeps me out a little bit, so I'm not super enjoying him, to be honest. There's gonna be so many bee movie jokes when WyrdFolk will come out. I was talking to my brother about this, like capturing random audiences when you're doing stuff, and I think that like the meme of the bee movie, I think just living eternally in the internet, I think just helps with maintaining a strong fan base whenever you do anything bee related. I think there's a big frog fan base out there as well. Maybe that's why a lot of people like the frog stuff. But dragons is just that super consistent one. Whenever I've mentioned dragons, those videos seem to do very well. I'm just looking at an ant eye. They're kind of like weird bubbly eyes. So yeah, I think I need to do more of those kind of videos, because I kind of want to do videos that I enjoy, of course, but just for the project to develop and for the channel to grow, I think it's important to appeal to the algorithm as well. But dragons definitely seems to be a big one to go through. And the way I've tried to do dragons is I've tried to kind of avoid scaly dragons, and to go more with like bird dragons and things like that. A bit creepy. So I've got like owl dragon and a few other ones. So and then that just means it's I enjoy drawing it, I think. I don't mind like fantasy dragons, but I've never been a big fan of drawing them, so it was fun drawing. I'll show the picture if anyone in the chat hasn't seen it, but one of my favorite pictures I've drawn, I think, was my dragons. This one. I love this picture. I was really happy with it. Just the, the foreground is not super important. I think it kind of is a bit visual, but just the owl. I was super happy with how the owl came out. Just works out quite creepy. He's just at the start of the dragon video, but I think the illustrations for the dragon video were not too bad as well. A dragon hunter, someone taking out a dragon, a dragon cult who worships a dragon skull, a peacock dragon who's worshipped by lots of his followers in the city of Bath. So I think I will do more dragon stuff in the future, but yeah, it's just like I've got a big list of things I want to draw, and it's quite difficult, keeping up with everything and making sure that it's that I'm enjoying what I'm drawing as well, I guess, is the most important thing. Bombardier beetles live in the UK. Imagine a troll of those. A terrifying thought. Bombardier beetles. That's the one that shoots acid, right? Bombardier beetle. Distinct. Fires hot, noxious chemical spray from the abdomen. Oh, I didn't realise they were in the UK. I think I might have seen them. They're cool. I'm going to write that down. Where's my notepad? Because that would be a cool animal to add in. So I'm looking at a picture of... I forget I'm not actually sharing my screen. I'm looking at a picture of a bombardier beetle. So they shoot caustic acid from their back sack thing. So that would definitely be a cool one as a troll or even a giant animal. Definitely a good one to consider adding in. One thing I was thinking about Halloween special video, kind of like Hair Short you did recently, something especially creepy, would be quite cool. Yeah, great idea. I thought about doing I wanted to do some specials, exactly like that. So I wanted to do a Christmas special about the Dragon of Freedom, who's a giant chicken. That was my original idea for a special. But I haven't even thought about a Halloween special, but that would be a fun thing to do. Again, a creepypasta type thing, or something that's just a fun short that's just super creepy. I think a lot of the stuff I've done so far is quite creepy anyway. But maybe more a spooky story type thing. Because a lot of the RPG that I wanted to make was about superstition, and to the superstitions of the island and how people kind of react with these superstitions. So that could be a fun one to do. Maybe how superstitious the people are around the island. Great idea, Frondix. Yeah, I definitely have to do that. Spite, what about a weevil dog? Well, I did a weevil last week. Here he is. So this is a weevil riding his little slug with his lettuce to help the slug move forward. He's got all of his stuff. He's taking it to market. This was actually a suggestion from someone on the stream. I can't remember who mentioned it last week. I was asking who should ride the slug, and someone suggested a weevil, and I'm glad they did, because he looks like a very cool little dude. So weevils, definitely another fan favorite. I found your channel off the dragon video. I was greatly intrigued, so I binged watched all your content from start to finish, as your channel was still young. Thanks, Aidan. Yeah, I appreciate you sticking around. Definitely a big member of the community, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, the dragon video was quite shockingly did quite well, and I've not managed to do anything similar to that. I'm trying to just enjoy the process. It's a big part of obviously making YouTube videos, but when you have a video like that that's so successful, it's difficult to compete with your own video. I guess it's best to just learn from it and see what else can make similar waves in the algorithm pool. The Owl Dragon video gave me chills as soon as I heard the talk. Whatever you did for the voice was awesome. Thanks, I appreciate that. I just used DaVinci Resolve, and I just messed with some of the audio features. I have actually got a voice editing tool now, which I plan to use in future videos. I think I might have used it in one of them. But yeah, I wanted to do something a bit different. Some of my family actually suggested I do more stuff with sound effects on some of my videos. So hopefully I'll be able to do some more cool voices. I was trying to practice a Scottish accent for one of my videos, but I gave up on it. I didn't want to embarrass myself too much, but because the Fae are like very much a part of Caledonia, which is one of the old names for Scotland, I wanted them to be very distinctly Scottish. Oops. Ah, it's supposed to be red. Hence the kilts in a lot of the artwork. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do a Scottish accent anytime soon in any of the videos. But definitely more more sound effects for sure. Nice. Coffee Pixel, I gotta say the Seagull Dragon video was absolutely terrifying. Nice. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I think that was one of my first short videos. I can't remember if that was before the Witness video or not. But yeah, you know, I've been to Scarborough a lot. It's quite near to where I live, and I want to do Scarborough as one of the pivotal cities of the acceleration. And so yeah, there's a lot of seagulls in Scarborough. I don't know if anyone in the chat has been there or been to any British beaches, but very aggressive heron gull. So that was the inspiration for that video. Nice, yeah. I'm glad it was creepy. I definitely want to do a few more creepy videos. Again, that's the sort of thing that does quite well on the internet, I think, is kind of creepypasta type thing. But I think it's a good way to kind of add to the world. Again, people like Monster Garden, I think, does a good job with those like short videos where it's like snippets, like the Sewing Witch in the recent one, but also some of the like the Mole Man and things like that, or Eternal Ruin. He does loads of like little snippets of like fauna and flora and demons and their shrines, and it's cool because like he talks about them and just never mentions them again, which I love. I think it just adds to the appeal of the video. Just makes you want to know more about the world for sure. So I'm going to try and do more stuff like that, I think, because they're fun to make, and it's like you don't really have to commit too much to anything in terms of that like project. It's not like a massive undertaking that you have to do. It's just one video, and it's kind of drawn and posted and done. So I'll definitely do more stuff like that in the future. Same as Sidon. Oh, nice. Dragons, a world building video. I got neuron activation. Watched it 20 times around. Thanks, Frondix. Yeah, I really appreciate you being here as well. Frondix and Sidon are very consistent on the stream and in the Discord. So I really do appreciate it. It's nice to have people here and to kind of develop together and bump ideas off each other. And I think especially if people know your project well, it just means they can give you good advice about it. And especially because we're all kind of working on similar ideas in terms of like projects and stuff. I think it's a good way to get feedback from people who know your project very well. Nice. I was the only one who suggested. I was one. Laser Crow. Nice. Yeah, Silence taken over. Yes, that was a great suggestion. I really liked it because I completely forgot what weevils look like, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, you're totally right. That's like an awesome image to have. An awesome little dude to have on the back of a slug. Right, I'm gonna do these like just like a sack, but I'm gonna change the color to match the. I might do it as like dragonfly sheen. And I'll do the reflection on it afterwards. These two ants are going to be black ants because they're the ones who live in my garden. So I need to make him white. I generally just do an outline of like a really bright color so I can see it, and then I do a clipping mask, and then at least I have a good outline. Because the way I draw is so messy, I need to be quite consistent. That's too dark. Let's do them a bit brighter. We'll do the shadows quite dark. Yeah, I think I've had a lot of inspiration from people in the chat, just shouting stuff out, and then it ends up being part of the acceleration, just because it's like a great idea. that I wouldn't have thought up myself. So it's nice having suggestions for sure. We're tired now. I don't like people eyeing my spot. Frederick, are there any other countries or continents? Yes, there are. The world kind of exists. Basically, the background for the acceleration is that this is actually really far in the future, and technology is quite advanced, or technology was quite advanced until humans or the Byzantine Empire, which ran the world, essentially destroyed the world. There was a big civil war. No one really knows what happens. So anyway, hundreds, maybe thousands of years later, we're in the present time in the acceleration. So humans have kind of like devolved. They've lost a lot of the technology they had in the past, and they live amongst obviously Fae and all of these other creatures, and they have to kind of they're trying to get back their power that they had previously, even though they don't really know what they had, because all this kind of knowledge has been lost. And the Fae have kind of come up during this time and developed alongside humans, which explains the muskets that you see in some of the other pictures, but also the outfits and everything. So anyway, everything around the world still exists, but they're in a similar state of disrepair. I've not really talked about it much in the lore because it's kind of a mystery to people in the Albion Isles, but it's something that I perhaps will do in a future video. For now, just to keep the consistency with the imagery of the acceleration, I want to just kind of stick to what we know. So yeah, it might come back in I might talk a bit more about like Europe or Africa or Asia in a future video, or North America. But just for now, I think I'm gonna stick to the Albion Isles. It's just a fun thing to consider for sure. What the rest of the world will look like. In fact, I mentioned this I think in a previous stream, but I wanted to do a short video on a traveling circus that has kind of collected animals from around the world. So you would see like Fae from Asia, and giant animals from Africa, and trolls from North America, and things like that, to kind of give you an idea. But again, that's very much a in the works, maybe thing for now. I think in the future it will be. I'll definitely do it, but like I said, I want to kind of stick to the vibe of the acceleration for the time being. If that makes sense. So then you just you spamming the your lore to stay at number 1. I like it. I like the commitment. So next, Dirty Cheetah. He's become too powerful. I appreciate it. I appreciate wanting to stay at number 1 top. I don't judge you. So then, are the ant cities like warlike or like a normal colony? Cool question. Yeah. So the ant colony I'm going to do as quite peaceful, actually. They do have the warrior ants, like the guard ants, but they're just there to protect the herds and to protect the farmers. But they're going to be just like a nation, like the humans, because I want them to kind of just blend in. Because it's kind of true. It's like, ants will come in your house and steal your stuff in real life, but they just generally live by themselves. They don't really do much. So I want that to be quite, apparent with their, with all of the ants to just be chill dudes. Well, the farmers to be chill dudes, and the warrior ants to be a bit scarier. But that's about it. Are the samurai praying mantis from Japan? Yeah, I think you'd have some really cool animals that would be available. You'd have some really cool animals that would be from different countries, like tigers, but also like a lot of insects, like you said, like termites or praying mantises and things like that could be really awesome. I think you just yeah. There's a lot you could definitely do with giant animals and trolls and things like that. So I'm hoping I can develop it in a cool way eventually, but we'll see. Would the ant dog thing and the aphid cow be giants? Yeah, so essentially that, yeah. The ant and the aphid are giants. I would say the aphids have kind of been bred to be much bigger. But as well as the ant dog, maybe as a pet. Ant dog's kind of just a fun one, but the aphids have been bred to be much bigger. Lore accurate siding, I guess. Thomas is found here from Monster Garden's recommendations. Oh, nice. I didn't realize he recommended me. He dropped in the stream earlier, and I had a flood of people, but I didn't realize he recommended my channel. That's awesome. No way. No way. What a hero. Channel I very much recommend is live, so send them some love and give them a sub. No way. What a hero. I can't believe he did that. Well, I don't know if you're still in the stream, Monster Garden, but thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Oh wow. Yeah. Thanks for stopping in, Thomas Garden. Yeah, it's it's good to have you here. We're just drawing an ant farmer, his ant dog, and a little fae. Oh, Sleepy Citizen. Sorry, mate. I've been neglecting you over there in Twitch. I'm chatting here a lot on YouTube. I need to get rid of those spam messages on Twitch, though. We're just drawing a cow farmer. Let me get rid of this guy. Sorry, I'm just going to block. I get at least one. Yeah, you know, I follow all of the channels he's. I follow all of the channels he's recommended. I think on his things. The one I mentioned earlier, actually, in the stream, _Nubmark, is one that I just saw on his YouTube, on his Discord. But I think it's definitely it's such an awesome thing to do. I think to shout out other channels and stuff like that, because it just means that we have more diversity in the world, and the world of world building. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I was wondering why so many people came across, including him. That was really awesome. I can't believe he did that. That's so cool. There's several types of birds that impale animals that catch on tree branches, like on stakes. Kind of scary for the lore. Do you know, it's funny you say that, Frederick. I was just talking to a friend about this over the weekend. I was telling him about my project, and he said the exact same thing. He mentioned, I can't remember what it's called. Maybe can someone remember, if anyone wants to write in the chat, that type of bird that catches animals and impales them on thorns, on bushes, because that's like a super gnarly one, and I think that'd be such a cool image to draw. In fact, I think I saw it from another artist who does a lot of werewolf pictures, but a Shrike. Thank you, Chris. There you go. Yeah, and Coffee Pixel. There you go. Yeah, so shrikes, they're gnarly birds. Super metal imagery. Have a look, shrike. So they impale like lizards and mice and frogs on sticks. Ugh. But I mean, it would make for like a perfect giant animal. Oh god, right. I'm gonna add that to my list of stuff. So I put bombardier beetle and shrike. And I'll have to have a check to see if I could do a video on like a short video. That could be the Halloween picture, actually. The shrike. Oh, the butcher bird. Oh, you did say that side down butcher bird, yeah. Have those in my series, a very large one. Nice. Great suggestion, Frederick. Yeah, I think that'd be a really cool one to add in. That's very terrifying. Tuckers, I already joined the Discord. Did not realize that my name was my user. Oops. Thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate you jumping in. Yeah, if anyone else wants to join Discord, you know, just a world building one. Everyone kind of sharing ideas and posting pics, and would love to hear other people's projects. And especially if you're, you know, if you've got a YouTube channel as well, feel free to just slap it in there. I think one of the only problem I have with the world building community is everyone puts a lot of effort into their videos, and that means that it takes a very long time for videos to come out, and so we just don't have enough, and I end up binging content and run out very quickly every time like I find a new artist. I'm still working my way through underscore nub marks, but I think I need to find some new guys just to keep my YouTube quota full. Because I want to work on, I want to just have stuff in the background to when I'm like doing the dishes and washing and cleaning the house and stuff like that. So it's good to have more and more projects, if possible, more and more world building projects to read about. I'm just gonna draw his organs. Very transparent little aphid here. I just change that to, there you go, that's a good colour. That's quite transparent, right? That's better. I just learned some creepy bird lore. Yeah, it's crazy how much stuff is like farmer ants or shrikes just being real life things. It's just crazy. It's like it's awesome to see, but also kind of creepy with a lot of these things. I think there's so much like real world lore to work with. Just means that you don't have to invent too much. Let's do some of the highlights and then I'll do some of the shadows. I think shadows always makes a big difference. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Just because it's one of my favorite parts. I'm just going to add a lot of detail to the image. Still not sure about this little ant dog dude, but we'll see. He's fine for now. What do you guys think? Do I need to edit the ant dog at all? Or maybe I can... if I can think of something else to draw for him, I will, but he's a good placeholder for now. Cute little guy. Strike Dragon would go crazy. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I think it would be such a scary dragon, like an intelligent one as well. So maybe he doesn't like just collect animals. He collects objects, and he has like basically a giant, maybe like a giant thorn bush that he lives in. And he's gone insane, and he's just impaling lots of things on there. And it could be a story about some troll hunters who've been sent to deal with him because he's problematic. Oh, that's a cool idea. I like this guy. He's looking pretty cool. In my series, I collected a lot of dead and few living soldiers and impaled them on branches of a tree. The main character had to climb the blood-soaked trunks. Damn, that's metal. I've seen I saw a similar thing on a sorry, I'm gonna just block this user here. Okay, cool. All right, I've just deleted those spam chat things on WhatsApp, on Twitch. I saw there's a artist I really like called Adrian Smith, and he did a he's done a series called Hate or Rage. Is it Hate or Rage? I can't remember. Which I've been meaning to buy for a while, but a lot of his stuff is like very black and white or like gory metal art, and I think there's a lot of things like bodies and war, and he's such an awesome. He's one of my favorite artists from like the Warhammer days, but he does a lot of like very visual stuff like Duckus, I was just working on my current project before I joined the stream. Nice. I only started the world recently, but I'm drawing some foot soldiers for one of the factions. I sent the first draft of them, as that's all I've got. That's pretendable. Yeah, man, send it over if you want to drop it into your into a project folder in the Discord. Again, I love to see that kind of stuff. It's inspiring to see how other people kind of create. You know, like Throndix in the chat is doing some traditional stuff. Alba, she has her own world building channel. She's doing things about druids and a lot about nature, and does a lot of really cool concepts in the forest. Saidan's doing a book. He's posted a document with his book in there, and a bunch of the guys have been reading it. And he's adding a lot to it. He writes a lot, so it's great to see like people so passionate about their projects. So it's good because then I can, when I have time, I can have a look through them. I kind of never have time, unfortunately, but definitely good to see other people being so passionate about it. Albert, oh yes, that is so true. I'm trying to find a way to do videos quicker, but there is so much art to do for just one. Yeah, you're right. You know, it's what I generally try to do is 8 new images for every video, and then one or two images from old videos that I kind of recycle. And it works out okay, but it just means, yeah, like you said, it just takes a long time to get anything done. Like this one we've been working on for an hour and a half now. And we're doing well. I think this is like looking pretty cool. But yeah, I think it'd be nice to just to have the time to, or just to have the speed to be able to finish projects a bit faster. But yeah, I think it's just a big part of the art process, for sure. What was that, Duckus? I imagine it can be slow, but kind of consistent. I find myself often actively searching to see if a new video dropped. Yeah, me too. Do you know, I've kind of not been trying to spend less time on social media, as little as possible. But I found that when I go on there, I'm just looking for world building videos. You know, there's so many really nice beginning projects out there. One thing I found that I've been supplementing my you know, absence of videos for is developer videos for video games. I found that's a good kind of in between. So people working on like video game projects, like solo developing, or that's like a good way to kind of itch that that kind of missing that need for project development stuff, because there's some really cool video games that people are making, and one that I really like is he's actually finished the project and released it on Steam. He's called a Pixel Architect, but it's called Chef RPG, and he developed this whole RPG which was about being a chef on an island, very like Stardew Valley inspired. But it's awesome. It's like such a cool project, and he, you know, the progress in his art and his like development, and you know, you can see him becoming like a businessman like partway through, and he decides to stop doing stuff by himself, and he gets some funding and is able to hire some artists, and it's such a cool video. It's such a cool project. I'll share it actually in the chat, because I binged them so hard. I think it was just a cool one to look through. Let me have a look. Pixel Architect. I think he... Oh, I'm not even subscribed to him. I think he is working on other stuff now. And I think the project actually got some good reception. But it's definitely worth checking out if you guys want to, you know, something to keep you going between world building project stuff. He's really, really, like I said, really, really an interesting project for sure. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. I'll read if you add it to Discord. Yeah, thanks, Aidan. Yeah, Keep on tabs of it anyway. I like to see other projects to collect their dog tags. What do you like? What do you think about the idea of fan characters for your setting? Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, some of the guys were talking about that recently because I did the last short I did was kind of I called it a, what's it called? It's creepypasta. And one of the guys said, you know, the creepypasta comes from like fan fiction, which I didn't realize. And they were saying, oh, you know, maybe other people can do some fan writing. I was like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. You know, I would love to see, you know, it'd be awesome to see other people's ideas and to kind of to see where other people take this kind of concept of, you know, 17th century life with animals in tow, or living amongst you. So I would absolutely love to see other people's takes on the project. So yeah, if you wanted to write some stuff or to do some art for it, you know, if you post it anywhere, you know, you can post it in the Discord, but if you post it anywhere else, just please shoot me a message somewhere and let me know, because I would love to check it out. It's really cool to see, and it keeps me inspired as well. A bunch of the guys did some, I've got like a acceleration fan art type thing in the Discord, and a couple of the guys have done some fan art already, and some of them are really cool. One of the guys did a human giant, and there were a few other ones as well. Let me have a quick look. But yeah, there's some cool art in there already. So I think it'd be a cool one to see other people's kind of takes on the project. So my brain is a bit frazzled, to be honest. I didn't expect Monster Garden to share my thing, so very happy with that. My brain is a bit fried just from that. Quick cool moments. It's nice though. It's nice having lots of people in the chat to talk to. Let's have a look. That's perfectly fine. I'll only share my lore book and keep actual novel and secrets. Me. Yeah, do you know, a few of the guys were talking on collabing on a few projects. I think it might have been you, Saidan, with some of the other guys. And I think that's cool. It's a good thing with some of these projects, like the Monster Garden Discord. I was in there originally with my project, and I followed a bunch of guys on there, including Throndix, actually, I think. Was it Throndix, or I can't remember who it was. There was a few guys on there, and I followed their YouTube pages, and a few of them have like Kickstarter projects, and it's just nice to see like other people's like projects really progressing, for sure. Duckus, I didn't notice the projects area. Definitely gonna make one now. Yeah, go for it, man. I think it'd be good to just it's good place to like kind of keep let people keep track of your stuff consistently. Right, I'm gonna do some shinies on here. Yeah, the guys were saying about doing like materials made from animal bits. So this is like a wing that's being used for like a sack. It's been kind of wrapped around. I might do it for like another, maybe like a beetle skin or something. Well, I would be more than delighted, and it confirms the lore. I will likely add it. The Bard likes fan art section for it in Discord. There you go. Sideon's way ahead of me. I love your stream so much. It gives me the determination to actually watch my budget. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's cool. It's something I'll do is I'll watch a few streams and I'll just be drawing whilst I watch other people's stuff. Because like you said, it's just I think it's a good way to stay motivated and to like you know, keep you moving, for sure. I'm just gonna Google ladybird. I think one of these sacks is going to be made from a ladybird shell. But yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think it's just such a great way to keep up your motivation and just to like, you know, jump on a stream and see what other people are doing, and it's a big reason why I wanted to start the Discord. Is just to hopefully find other people who are doing similar stuff, which has worked actually, because obviously I've met you guys, and a bunch of other people as well through it, and found like other discords as well. I think it's like quite recognizably a ladybird skin. A bit of a reflection on there. Nice. That was a cool idea to add that in. I think this is looking pretty cool. Going well. I have a lot of ideas for settings of my own, but I don't have much focus or energy to do anything with all these ideas. Frederick, I would say my best recommendation is to take one of your favorite idea and to just start working on that and to ignore everything else, because I have the same problem. I have piles and piles of notebooks in my office of just ideas that I was really sure I was going to work on, and I just never got around to doing them. And it's, you know, it can be really what's the word, disappointing, you know, when you want to start a project and you start the project and you're really excited about it and it kind of loses steam, and then you get a bit bored of it and then it kind of falls off and then you just stop. And I found with this project, I've managed to stay quite consistent because I've only been doing this one, and I've kind of ignored everything else. So honestly, you know, it's a bit unsolicited advice for you there. Sorry, but I would say it's worked for me. That's something that I think really helped me to just, you know, crack on with the acceleration and just work on it and get a lot done. You know, I've been producing maybe not a video every 10 days, but I've been trying to produce a video every 10 days, and I've been quite consistent with that. You know, it's been maybe once every 2 weeks is about it. It kind of looks like he's got trousers on. I'm going to delete everything I just did there. Oops. So yeah, I would honestly say that's one of the things that helped me the most, is just sticking to a project and kind of ignoring my natural wants to just move on to something else. One thing I think that helped me as well was I wanted to do a sci-fi project as well for the acceleration, and I instead of starting a sci-fi project, I just kind of added it to this one. So something I've done for this is like pre-tech, so technology that was available before the kind of end of the world, and I've just added it to the project, and I think it's been quite an interesting one to add in. It's a bit random, but because I was really, you know, hoping to do it and to have it as part of this project, I just did it. I just added it in, and I'm quite happy I did, because it makes it a bit different and a bit bizarre, and adds a sci-fi twist to it. And I love sci-fi, so that's my best advice for you, mate. You didn't ask for advice, but I'll give it to you, because I think that really, really helped me. I think I heard it somewhere else from someone else, so it's a good way to think about it. Anyone here heard of the velvet worm? I'm gonna write that down. Velvet worm. I've not. I'll have to check it out. I have no idea how to help. I had lots of drive to start writing. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, you know, maybe ask some guys in the Discord as well. Like I said, a lot of these guys are super motivated, and I see them just, you know, cracking on with their projects. So I think they're probably the best people to ask about staying motivated. So definitely, just I think just consistency is the best way to go about it, for sure. I'm just looking at this guy's got kind of a red black pincers. Oops. Here. It's a bit too dark. A bit browner. There we go. Voices are multiplying. Mana Red Cape offers to help. Ah, nice. Okay, yeah, I knew it was you, and I knew it was you and someone. So, Man in the Red Cape. Yeah, he does a lot of the art in the chat as well. I think he did some of the fan art as well. Monster Garden just decided to release the Kraken. Yeah, I think it was funny. He jumped in. I was like, oh wow, okay, he's in. And then like 20 people joined the chat, so that was pretty cool. It's cool to have these little moments as well. I feel like a lot of people in the kind of in the world building community are, you know, very receptive and open-minded and you know, willing to help. So it's good to kind of have that community there to keep you consistent. I'm quite happy with this. I might stop there. I think that kind of gets across the idea I'm going for. I do need to add the backgrounds. It's one thing we were talking about last week, is having a background in all of the images now. This one? Was it that one? Let me check. In fact, I might just cheat and copy this. Here's a trick. I don't know if everyone knew this in uses Procreate. You can just import layers. It should have the same transparency. No, it does not. Okay, that didn't quite work. Yeah, it's been great having like lots of people here to kind of help develop the project as well. Alex, no, I don't think it was me because I was never in the Monster Garden. I'm sure it was. I can't remember who it was. It was someone definitely in the Discord who was in there as well. How do Fae view the consumption of their unaccelerated counterparts, like a hare Fae seeing a human eat a hare? Great question. So, it's a big part of it was supposed to be a big part of the RPG, because a lot of the RPG was supposed to be based on the mothership system, and a big part of that system is stress. And so one of the aspects of obviously witnessing humans, or for example an eagle Fae eating a deer when you are in fact a deer Fae, was supposed to be a big significant part of that. So yeah, I would say for animals which are accelerated, but come from herd animals, so a deer or a rabbit or I'm not sure what else, other animals, like a lot of herbivores. I think for them it would be very disturbing, and perhaps they would be very off-put by humans or carnivore Fae eating their kind of kin. But for I think for other animals like foxes, you know, perhaps they just wouldn't care. I think they would just, you know, they just see it as kind of dog eat dog world type thing. So I think it would really depend on what kind of animal we're considering. I'm trying to keep consistent with these. Down to 20%. So yeah, great question. Yeah, so it would affect a lot of different animals, but for some of them they wouldn't even notice. They would just see it as meat a lot of the time. Good question. Right, I'm going to try and catch up on a lot of the questions here. Sorry, I've been quite slow with it because I'm quite into this drawing. Saidan, actually, I do have advice to start writing, just to keep on revising. When I first started, I just opened the door and poured ideas into a simple story, but it was horrible. I had no dedication. I revised, created a law book, gave me dedication, and now I am much better off. Yeah, you know, I think that's great advice. Just get into it, just start writing, but stick to the project. It's a bit like YouTube, I think. I think you just have to just write and to keep going, and to not worry about not worry too much about where the project's going, and just write about the stuff you really enjoy, and to just not stop, and to not veer off into a second project. Because I think if you can put all of your energy into one thing, as opposed to putting all of your energy into lots of different ideas, you'll find that it goes a lot further. You know, I think I've created, it must have been about 100 images for this project now, maybe more. But I've made about 30 videos now, I think. 8 live streams, a bunch of shorts, Discord, all these kind of things, and it's just for one project. And I think that the reason why is just because I've not switched. So it's obviously been quite useful. So I think that's probably the best advice I could give. Adding on to Sidan's advice there, which I think is really, really good advice. Coffee Pixel, you asked about suggestions for things to add. Have you heard of a Siax knife, kind of an everyday use knife, type all across Europe at the age of the Viking? Just thought it'd be cool. I'll have a look. A Siax knife. Ooh, that is cool. So it's like a utility knife, is it? Maybe I have heard of it. So Nubmark, a guy I've mentioned a couple of times, during this stream, he did a video recently on knives, and in Monster Garden shared it in his announcements. I'll check it out. It's a really cool video, and he basically goes really in depth with the knives from the different cultures in his world building project, and he even builds a couple by hand because he's like a blacksmith as well. And so he goes through like utility knives, knives that knights would use to fight other knights. He does them for farmers and people who are harvesting and hunting, etc. But he designs all these knives, and he uses like real world examples to help him with these kind of informed designs, and it's awesome. Really, really cool video. I posted it a bit earlier in the stream, so definitely check out his videos if you can. _Nubmark, really, really cool guy. I'm going to uni soon. Once I'm there, I'm considering doing art streams and stuff for my project. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I just think it would be nice. Go for it, man. Yeah, I think, if you've got the time, if you're going to be a full-time student, I think it would be an awesome way to do it. One of the other people in the stream earlier, Alba, I think she does a lot of streams as well, so I try to drop into hers. Monster Garden, unfortunately, his streams are a bit early in the day when I'm normally working. I haven't managed to catch one yet, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get one when I'm not working during the week, because my work schedule is a bit inconsistent. But if you do start streaming, Duckus, just let us know in the Discord or wherever, and I'll try to jump in if I can. It's good to see other people's work, and it means I get a lot of drawing done when other people are working on their streams at the same time. My real only motivation, like I said, is to get on stream or something of someone that's doing something similar to you, even though it wasn't streams I started with Soylee's videos. A great guy. Yeah, nice. So I would say that's a great way to do it as well. Just to help you stay motivated is to maybe draw or write whilst you have something in the background of someone doing something similar. I think that's a great way, a really great piece of advice, Throndix, because again, it keeps you kind of consistent, and it keeps you working on your project, because you kind of see other people are in the same zone as you, or same kind of, they're doing the same thing as you. So I try to do the same thing. I think that's great advice as well. Soylee as well, one of the big names in world building. He does a lot of those dragon videos, and they're awesome. Another one is Dead Gods. If you guys have seen that, Dead Gods is awesome. I think it's based on the Old Testament, I think, and he's kind of exaggerated and gone into a real fantastical side of it. But he was like a graphic novelist. He was an artist, and he made his own graphic novels. So his art is awesome, and he does so much. I don't know how he has the time to do so much content. He does so much art in every single video, and he posts them like twice a week, so it's crazy. So he's a good one to have lots of content as well. Dead Gods is the name of his one. My inspiration is that my project is my pride and joy. Nice, yeah. I think that's a good thing as well, is just to make sure that it's like a passionate thing you're doing. Like, you're working on a project because you're enjoying it. I think is a really big part of it. I'm just going to draw these flowers because I've been staring at them just whilst talking to you guys, and I think I just need a little bit of colour. There we go. And then I'll just add a little bit there. Okay, that looks a bit better. So yeah, that's good advice as well. Just be passionate about what you're doing. Hey, Badger friend, expect a new amphibian for the Frog Army in the Discord. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these. Actually, let me have a look now. Oh, nice. Everyone else is posting theirs, their projects in as well. Some more art as well. Oh, there's a few new people in. A couple new people adding to the Frog Army. Good to have you here as well. It takes everything in me to not lore jump everywhere. That's good. It's good you're so passionate about it, Saidan. I think it's cool that you obviously really love your project and you want it to do well. So I think it's a cool thing to have a passion project like that for sure. Now just for the last little bit of this stream, I'm going to start working on this like wolf picture. It's going to be a big creepy wolf walking past a human who's sweating, trying to not look the wolf in the eyes. Very nervous, just sweeping outside his house, pretending the wolf doesn't exist. As he walks past, give the wolf a big cool hat as well. Because hats are very important in this world building project. How did I get it? Again, I've made 7 or 8 tabs, 3 books, about a dozen or more short stories, 180 pages, all for one project. Wow, probably about 190 now. That's crazy. That's awesome, man. It's so cool that you're so passionate about it. And you know, I see you posting a lot in there and talking about the different aspects of it, like food and you know, warfare and different things like that. It's awesome that you have so many ideas for your project as well. Do you think you're going to try and get it published, Saidan? Are you going to try and do a self-published book or something? Chris, that makes sense. I'd assume it wouldn't be that shocking for fish fate to eat other fish, since fish eat fish in nature. That's a question I've had since I first saw your videos, so thanks for clearing up. No worries. Yeah, great question. And yeah, I think I like that about world building projects when they you know, consider things like this. I think it was on another stream when someone asked me the same question. I hadn't really considered it until the person asked me that question. So I appreciate any questions like this if anyone has any. I'm happy to answer them because I might not have thought about it at all, to be honest. So it's a good one to cover, and then I can pretend like I know what I'm talking about for my own project, and not that I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. Duckus, thanks for the encouragement. I'll make sure to do that. Yeah, for sure, man. Make sure to drop us a link if you do stream, and that's the same for all of you guys. If any of you guys start streaming, let us know, and feel free to share it, you know, in the general chat or something, and I'm sure people will be happy to jump in and show some support and work on your projects together. It's a good way to do it. I've made an effort to make my project friendly to all ages. No swearing or sexual content. Definitely in 2 to 3 years when it's done. One thing is my brother's writing books. He's on his 2nd book at the moment. I've mentioned him I think a few times, but he I think is really just he does actually similar to what you said, Saidan. He writes the whole book and he goes back and kind of goes through it and edits it afterwards. And I think it helps him to kind of realize the project as he's getting through it. Which I think is important because, you know, unless you've written everything down first, I think it's impossible to know where the book is going or where these kind of projects are going. So I think that's a really helpful way of doing it. It's just making sure you give yourself enough room to work with and not, you know, tie yourself up by perhaps, you know, working on a project, like overworking on a project perhaps. I don't know. That's one thing he told me. You know, because he's on his 2nd book now. And I think a big aspect of writing as well is just developing as a writer. I think with drawings it's quite easy because you draw a picture and then you're done with that picture. And so when you go on to the next picture, potentially you've improved. But with writing, you know, you write a book and maybe your writing develops as the book develops with, and then then the writing at the start is not the same level as the writing at the end, if that makes sense. So I don't know, my ramblings, but it seems to be the way with him. He's on his second book, and I think he's really happy with his writing in this one, where in the first one he wasn't so happy with it. So it's always a good thing to consider for sure. I can really relate to the law dump thing. A few days ago, my best friend visited Bob and made the mistake of mentioning my project. That always happens to me when someone's like, "Oh, what's all this? What are these little plastic figures in your room? What are these posters about the God Emperor or about Space Marines?" I'm like, "Oh, well, let me tell you. It all started with the betrayer, Horus Lubrical, and they get a horrible recollection of the Horus heresy from my memory, all the way from the start of the Imperium to, as far as I know, in the Warhammer universe." I've done the same as well with my project. I've tried not to over talk about it too much, but I think especially when you're super passionate about something, it's difficult to not want to talk about it and tell everyone about it, especially when you've worked really hard on it and you're trying to be as consistent as possible. Yes, definitely some parts of my book, mainly the beginning, have horrible writing quality and a few short stories. Well, that's a part of it. I think is just progressing and becoming a better writer. I think is just part of being an artist, right? It's something I hope, but as this project continues, is my illustration style will improve and I'll get a bit better. Oh gosh, just in the time. Right, I think it may be time to end the stream there. I think that's pretty good. Have a look on the preview. Let's have a look. Quite happy with that. We've got Aphid, our farmer, and his little dog. And then the kind of patchwork sack, which is made from normal leather, as well as insect leather, in inverted commas. Aphid quite happily eating some daisies. But yeah, I think it's love the hat. He's very fancy. Yeah. Really good stream. I can't believe that. That was crazy. To have so many people in the stream all at once. It's super motivating, and it really helps me to want to crack on with the project, and especially hearing about your guys' projects as well. I really appreciate all of you, jumping in and asking questions and just being curious about the world. If anyone hasn't joined the Discord, feel free to jump in. Again, it's just a great place to kind of hang out and hear about each other's projects, and feel free to post your own stuff in there and your social links. I've got tabs for that in there, so other people can find some more projects to follow. Alba, nice, great work, thank you. Yeah, I think he'll looks like a happy chap. Doesn't look too scary. I might try and do the warrior ant maybe in the next stream or in a future one. I don't think that Discord link worked. Yeah, I really appreciate all of you being here. It's nice to have. Can I copy the link? Copy link address. There we go. To have lots of people in. Oh no, that's too many characters. Okay, never mind. If you go on my YouTube, you'll be able to find my Discord and a few other links. I've got a newsletter which I need to catch up on as well, and the YouTube channel as well. If you guys wanted to see some of the lore videos, I have videos about the troll hunters, trolls, dragons, giants, the port of Scarborough, human giants as well. That was a recent video, and a few other ones as well. So, Duckus, I'll make sure to drop by again. Yeah, please do, man. It was great having you here, and I appreciate the questions as well. And good luck with starting your project. Oh, my iPad just turned off there. Oops, up again. Oops. Let me just try and share my screen again. Yeah, I appreciate being here and and jumping in. Yeah, it'll be great to see you guys again in the future. And like I said, if you wanna hear some more about the world and everything like that, it's all on my YouTube. So best place to find out about it. Thanks again, everyone, for dropping by. I really appreciate the support. And I'll be on again, same time next week, 8:30 p.m. Wednesday, UK time. I'm on there every week, drawing and chatting. And that's a very cool piece. Again, a very pleasant stream as always. Thanks, Throndix. Really appreciate it. My setting is going to be fantasy, and goodbye. Number 1, yay. Duckus is definitely going to binge some videos. Yeah, thank you. Thanks again for the support, everybody, and for dropping by the stream. Really good one. Thanks, Alba. Have a good night. Appreciate you being here as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Lazy Crow. Thanks, Aiden. Appreciate it, guys. A few more people saying goodbye. Bye, Duckus. Yeah, bye, Riffy. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. And yeah, I'm super happy that I got recommended. Thanks, Frondix. Yeah, it's nice to to see things like that in the community. But yeah, now I'll actually go. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye.